Good morning everyone, happy 7th of December. From a very wet and windy and storm battered northeast of England. We have Storm Dara here. It's arrived here in the northeast overnight and it's super wet and the winds are pretty strong. We've already had warnings from the local electricity supply in case the power lines go down. So I'm not going to be venturing outside this afternoon. Never mind, I'll just tuck myself up with the fire. Anyway, I'm going to hang number 7 up. And it's just going there. And in my box, jiggle my box up a bit. There's plenty still in my box. Oh, well, there's a star right on top. Why don't I just take the star? I made the star, that was part of my Advent mix last year from how I process my scraps. But I'm going to put this up, I think I'm going to put it right up in the middle, so I'm going to get my ladders again. It looks good up there. Well, I had a very busy day yesterday. And actually, I can't even regale what I was up to because I think my brain has just gone into overload. And I don't feel stressed about it at all. I just, all of a sudden, didn't have a clue what was going on. I didn't know whether I was coming or going. I didn't know what videos I had done. I didn't know what I had left to do. I just sat there in quite a bemused state, had the fire on, and actually did nothing on the evening at all, which is very unlike me because I'm normally doing stuff all the time. I think I was just bemused. So anyway, back to today. I'm going to struggle to get out for my phonology photograph, I think, because it is so dreadful outside. But I'm not going to do it from in the house. I will put my raincoat on and I will nip out the front door to get a very quick breath of fresh air. Probably a very, I'll be very wet even just in 5 minutes, but I will get my photograph. That's if the trees stop waving about as much. So for today's video, I'm calling it the Stair Carpet story because it's all about the blankets, how I came to have so many blankets and what I did with them and how I came to make my stair carpet. I've had so many requests over the last year. Every time if I mention the stair carpet, it's like, can we see the stair carpet? What did you do with the stair carpet? So today's the day. I'm going to find out what I did, and I searched back through my old photographs. Oh, got an itchy nose. I searched back through my old photographs and found out how I could put them onto the computer so you could see them on the video, and I found out how to put them on. So I'm learning all the time, which is always a good thing. Stretching your brain, stretching your creative muscles, whatever they are, whether it's learning how to do videos better or learning how to stitch a seam. It's all creativity and it's all stretching your brain. And I'm enjoying the comments, lots of people telling me about Christmas traditions and when they put their trees up and things. I've always done mine late. I think it's because when we were little, Mum always did it after we children were all in bed on Christmas Eve. And of course we didn't realise it at the time, but when she was saying you have to go to bed early so Santa Claus can come, and she was sending us to bed at 6 o'clock, it wasn't so Santa could come. It was so that she could get the Christmas decorations up. And so we went to bed and she would have the streamers up, the Christmas tree decorated. She decorated the Christmas cake. So when you got up on Christmas morning, it seemed like magic had happened overnight, because you went to bed with a normal house and you got up on Christmas morning and there was streamers and pretty things and the tree and the cake and the food was on the sideboard ready for Christmas tea, all sorts of things. And I think I just never got used to having the decorations up early, so I do put mine up late. And yeah, I don't think I'll change. I love them up but I equally love the house when it gets back to normal. And there are lovely traditions associated with Christmas. So let me know in the comments whether you have something particular or something different that your family does. I'd really be interested to read them and see what you do. Oh, and my cup's been really popular, evidently. I've been getting asked about it. It's from Danone, which is a China company here in the UK. I like them because they've got very thin rims. I like my tea to be in a good cup. And this was a little bit pricier than I would have bought a cup. But the day I bought it, I was feeling very low. I was feeling a bit upset about Michael. Well, it's like a normal thing really. However, this is last year, and I was in Northallerton, I think, and I went in a shop I wouldn't normally go in. I was just wandering around, feeling upset, and I saw the china, and I saw this cup had blue tits on it. And I really associate blue tits with Michael because they were his favourite little bird that he used to like watching on the bird feeders. And so the minute I saw it, I knew I had to take it home, and it cheered me up just getting that and taking it home. And so normally this is the cup you'll see me using because it's got the blue tit. It's called Secret Wood Blue Tit. And it's got all the birds on, and it's even got a little nest with eggs in. I think that's it. I'm going to cut you now into the story of the stair carpet. And I'll see you tomorrow morning for another Mantelpiece, Marion's morning chat with a cup of tea. And another video of, I haven't got a clue. Something. It'll be something. Bye everyone, see you tomorrow. And today I'm going to tell you the story of my stair carpet. So, and as you can see, I'm surrounded by wool. So I actually started it in January of 2019, and I started it because I woke up from a dream where I was remembering my grandma and my mum making a hooky mat with the big mat frame balanced over the back of the chair backs when I was quite little. And hooky mats are sort of a tradition in the northeast, hooky and proddy, and I can do both of them, but hooky was what I remember mum and grandma doing. And when I woke up, I had a total conviction that I was going to make my own stair carpet. And I rang my mum and asked whether she still had the mat frames, and she said no, they'd gone long ago, but she did still have the hooks. I said I'd go over later that day to pick up the hook, and hopefully she'd show me how to use it. So I was still doing my gardening at the time. I was still a professional gardener, and so I was going about my daily gardening from one garden to another. And as I passed an antique shop in Bishop Auckland, what was outside the shop standing up against the front glass but an old mat frame. And it was almost like a screech of wheels as I brought my van to a halt and parked up and went in to ask them about the mat frame. And after a bit of umming and ahhing, he eventually told me I could have it for £20. And so I paid my money and put it in my van and went straight across to my mum's and said, look what I've got in the back of the van. It seemed as if it was meant to be. So she gave me a piece of hessian, we put it in an embroidery hoop, and she proceeded to show me how to hold it underneath and hook the pieces through, and we just did it with a bit of fabric because she didn't have any wool to do it with. I waited till that weekend and I went up to a fabric shop and bought a whole load of hessian and came back and started that very night. And because I knew I wanted to do it with thrifted wool, I was collecting old jumpers, wool jumpers, 100% wool jumpers from the charity shop, putting them through the washing machine and just cutting them up with the scissors. And I've got dozens of pieces left. And as I got more and more doing it, I realised I wasn't having enough wool jumpers in bunny colours. There were mainly jumpers were sort of dark blue, dark green and black and grey, and I wanted some bright pink and I wanted some yellow. And so I turned to my wool blankets. Now I did have a bit of a collection of blankets because I still use blankets on my bed. And so I started to go out thrifting for wool blankets. And at the time, and I know it's not that long ago really, it's just 2019, people just weren't wanting wool blankets. And so I was finding wool blankets for either nothing, where they gave me them for a dog blanket, or very little money. And so I just started thinking, well, I'm rescuing blankets. And I asked all of my clients, all of my garden people, told them what I was doing, and did they have any blankets they wanted to get rid of. And so I amassed a massive amount. So I'm going to show you one or two of them and then what I was doing. So these ones are really old, just really lovely cream blankets, and I got them in various states of repair. This is quite a thick one. It's quite big though as well. So some of them, if they weren't in a very good repair or they were very marked, they were the ones I used to dye up my colours. But then there was things like this, that although they're thin, they're beautiful because they've got beautiful edges on them. And I thought, well, I know they're thin, but I can't cut them up. This one's quite a big one, so I didn't cut those types of ones up. I started to dye them, and I was dyeing my blankets. I was thinking, I didn't know anything about dyeing at the time, so I just looked it up. And I came across a thing saying that you could dye with food colouring. Well, years ago, I used to be a wedding cake maker, and so I still have all of the colouring, the sugar flour decorating equipment, and so I had lots of food colouring. And so I started to cut pieces of blanket up into, oblongs or squares, and I started to experiment with the food colouring and salt in an old jam pan. And actually, I was just having a lovely time. And there's definitely a photograph of them, of all the colours hanging in the backyard, so I will put that in. I just went on until I had a lovely array of bunny colours. However, people were still giving me blankets and I just kept accepting them. Now I do have one absolute beauty here. Well, this one is just so lovely, and it came from a big house. It's actually 10 feet square. It's really old. What makes it so lovely is in every corner it has some wool embroidery, which is it's not anything in particular, but then you don't know why somebody made it like that. So every corner has this circular design with 4 circles in already, and then different sort of bits of wool and herringbone. And I sort of can't see that they were after a particular pattern. It does sort of look random, but every corner is identical. Also, there's the selvages, obviously where it's been woven, but the other 2 edges are not bound at all like you would see on other blankets. It's just raw. It also has these lovely pieces of darning. Because of all that, I find it hard to think that I could ever cut this up. But what to do with it? It just stays in my blanket chest. Anyway, all of that is just to say that that's what started me off with doing my stair carpet. And I've got pictures I'm going to put in now that show you how it started out and how I just used a tea plate to draw a semicircle edge on each side of the width. And I knew that because I just had random colours, that I had to do a design that was just going to be random. So what I did was I sorted all the jumpers out so that I only used very dark colours for the edge, with a little flower in the middle, and then I filled up the middle of the tread just randomly with whatever colour pleased me at the time. And I was desperately wanting to find a wool cutting machine. It's just not the sort of thing you find here, I don't think, because I didn't even find one or see one for sale. And so I didn't even rotary cut all my pieces out. They were all just cut out by hand as I went. And so that stair carpet has been on my stairs since about July of 2019, because it took me 6 months altogether to do the carpet. I had to do it in 2 halves because it got so heavy that I couldn't manage it anymore, because I was just sitting on my easy chair in the sitting room, and I made the decision that I had to have it in 2 halves. And then when they were both done, I sewed them together from the back and made sure that that join was in the inside corner of the stair tread. And that's about it. It's been there ever since. I take it off every year and give it a beat outside and let it go into the sunshine, and then I put it back on the stairs. It's been down already 5 years, and occasionally the cats get the claws in the little loops and pull them out, but I just go back in with my hook and rehook them back in, and it's not been a problem. And I do love having my bonny colourful stairs. I've actually had to come outside so I can get you the longest view of my finished carpet. So I actually don't have a hallway. My front door opens and you go straight to the bottom of the stairs. Anyway, this is how the whole thing looks now. And the flowers and the dark edges work well with the multi-coloured middle, because it's the only way I could think of to use up all of the different colours that I had. And on the wall there's lots of crafting. So you've had the stair carpet story, and I hope you've liked that. And if you have, press the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I think I've got a rug hooking project coming in the new year, because I still have lots of wool and I actually want to do something, and so that's likely to come up. I don't know when, but next year there will be some hooking going on. Thanks a lot. See you tomorrow, everyone.